I'm very excited now about our guest speaker, Lily Bennu, child of the sun and daughter of our own Reverend Manasseh. Lily is an IU, an employee, and a soon-to-be graduate, beginning her English master's program this summer. Very exciting. She's the proud cat mom of two beloved cats, Waffles and Buttercup. Is that right? Buttercup, yes. Lily brings heart, insight, creativity to all that she does. If you ever need to summon her, just use Mexican food, Minecraft, a handful of crystals, and she'll appear in her red and black Converse sneakers. And if I may, Lily Bennu. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy, for that wonderful introduction. I asked for Randy to be my service leader because he's just an awesome guy, and I have a special connection with him, especially when it comes to crystals. And so when he came in, I was like, I have this joke. I want to tell this joke. I'm not sure where to tell it. And then he told me the joke. I was like, that's my opening joke. So get ready for a bit of funny deja vu. You've heard the story or the phrase, don't cry over spilled milk. Well, let me tell you about not crying over slapped soda. I was 3 or 4 years old, walking along the beach with my mom, granny, my aunt, and my baby cousin. A full family beach day, the sun was shining, the waves were waving, and life was good. My mom turns around and looks at me, and I'm just joyfully sipping on some drink. Life was totally good. I was content. Mom asked Granny, did you get Lily a drink? No. So she asked my aunt, did you buy her that? Also no. At this point, everyone's confused. So my mom is like, where did you get that drink from? And I, with my whole chest, proudly announced, I got it off the ground. My mom flipped out. She sprinted over and slapped the drink right out of my hand, totally panicking. And Granny was laughing the whole time, until my mom turned to her and said, what if it's laced with LSD? Lily's gonna die! At that point, Granny was like, okay, listen, calm down, it's not that serious. So we went on with our beach day, but Mom, she was watching me the whole time, just waiting to see if I would start levitating or collapse. And in case you were wondering, the soda didn't do anything to me at all. I'm so normal. So good morning, Unity of Bloomington. Thank you to everyone that's here today and everyone watching online. And a very happy Mother's Day to the moms, stepmoms, mother-in-laws, adoptive moms, chosen moms, our wonderful grannies and our aunties, the parents that have to be mom and dad, to those with us who have had mothers who have transitioned, and for mothers who have had children transition, and those who might have complicated feelings about today. Now, everyone, I'd like for us all to take a deep breath in. Today we're going to be going over some deep spiritual information, and I want your brains and bodies to be at peace to receive what is best for you from today's message. At first, when Mom voluntold me to give the Mother's Day message, I planned to do something light about mothering the mothers, but I had no inspiration or information about that. Then one morning, while tying my shoes, getting ready for work, in the most mundane moment, Spirit dropped a question into my head. We know the archetypes of the divine masculine, but what are the archetypes of the divine feminine? Most of us are familiar with some aspects of the divine masculine archetype. The Trinity, usually a binary with a third option in between the first two, with the most known example being creation, destruction, and preserving, like Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma of Hinduism. In ancient Egypt, the same with the daily birth of the sun. We have Khepri, the morning sun, Father Ra, the middle sustaining sun, and at twilight, Amun, the ending sun, and then the sun dies and goes through the underworld to be reborn again the next day. Even in Christianity, we have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I think we can all agree the Father, Old Testament God, is closer to the destruction side of the spectrum. We could say Jesus being creation and the Holy Spirit in the middle, the sustainer of faith. So with that pattern, two extremes and only one point in between established, let's go over a short list of 13 divine feminine archetypes I gathered, pulled from ancient myths, spiritual texts, and modern wisdom from womb circles and sisterhoods. So we have Creatrix, cycles, snake, void, wild, nurturing, moon, blood, wisdom/aging, underworld, darkness, and water. Now, we're not going to go over all 13 of these archetypes today, but let's acknowledge something. All but 3 of these on this list have a very vilified connotation in our modern society. And even when it comes to nurturing, that has been co-opted as something you do for others while ignoring yourself. Water, while life-giving, is feared when it's deep, wild, and untamed. And Creatrix escapes negativity, mostly because it's not really talked about. Even the number of the archetypes here, the number 13, once sacred to the goddess, has been twisted into something unlucky. It's a shame how these sacred aspects of the divine feminine have been distorted or completely forgotten. So today we are going to remember. We'll explore 3 of these archetypes, blood, cycles, and creatrix, because each holds wisdom, not just about physical motherhood, but about how we mother ourselves, our community, and our world. So the first archetype we're going to go over is the most maligned of them all, because it is the most powerful of them all. Blood is the stuff of life. It is powerful and holds wisdom. Blood is the doorway to the future and the past. Through the study of epigenetics, scientists have found that our blood carries up to 20 generations ago of information. And through that thought, that means within all of us, we hold information that will go on 20 generations into the future. For mothers, menstrual blood transforms within the body when there is a fertilized egg and becomes the placenta, the first house for the baby. Thanks to patriarchal religions and thinking, menstrual blood and body blood alike have been desanctified and are considered sinful. But the ancients knew that blood was powerful and holy. There's a very interesting Mayan myth about the origin of the first menstruation, when the moon goddess was disobedient to her father, Father Earth, by kissing with the sun. The Earth Father was so mad he completely destroyed her, and her death turned all the waters of the earth red, becoming the first menstruation. The blood was then stored into 13 jars. The first half of the jars turned into snakes and insects, representing the first poisons. The next half of the jars turned into medicinal herbs. The last jar, the 13th, when opened, rebirthed the moon goddess herself. So this story, even with some patriarchal touches, is a great example of the power of blood. It can curse the users and others alike, like the first half of the jars, or it can offer great and potent healing, like the jars with the medicinal herbs. And maybe, as a combination between both of those, it can even lead to rebirth and reincarnation, like for the moon goddess. I'll close this archetype with a phrase attributed to the Hopi people. When all women give their blood to the earth, war will stop and the men will come home. Let us remember that when we honor blood, yes, Tana, let us remember that when we honor blood as sacred, ancestral, and transformative, we reclaim not just our bodies, but our lineages, our healing, and our future. Our next archetype is cycles. In traditional thinking, life is a linear path, a line with a beginning and an endpoint with nothing before or after. This way of thinking promotes disconnection and separation from the divine and from one another. The divine feminine archetype of cycles is antithesis to linear thinking and is more in tune with natural living and spiritual existence. We can think of a cycle in 2D as a circle. Circles can have many points on them and they all connect back to one another in an infinite loop. If you expand a circle in 3D, it becomes a spiral. And it has representing infinite cycles of possibilities, with spiraling up representing evolution and spiraling down de-evolution. But the beauty of a spiral is even when we spiral downward, we can always return and just loop back up to begin again. This makes the shape of a double helix, the shape of our DNA. We have within us the possibility to cycle upwards and downwards as needed. Both eventually lead to the ongoing upward cycle and evolution. I would say the two most important cycles connected to the divine feminine are the maiden, mother, crone, and life, death, rebirth cycles. All things start from nothing, become young, mature, and end. This natural process of life has become skewed over time with an obsession of staying young forever, which is actually a fear of dying thanks to many religions destroying the idea of rebirth and afterlife as being accessible for everyone. Some of us might cringe at what I'm about to say, but it is great to get old. It is good to age. A century ago in 1925, the average life expectancy in America was 60. And a century before that, it was 38. We are blessed to live longer nowadays, giving us more time to enjoy life and to continue our journey while inspiring others. In Norse mythology, the Norns, the triple goddess, represent past, present, and future. They dwell at the bottom of Yggdrasil, the world tree, and they nurture its roots and contribute to its growth. Their story is a powerful reminder that when we embrace the wisdom of cycles, we stay aligned with both nature and spirit. To embrace the archetype of the cycles is to accept that life is not a destination. It's a rhythm, an ebb and a flow that goes on, and when it ends, it simply begins again. The last archetype we'll go over today is Creatrix. While today we celebrate motherhood in its physical form, that is only a fraction of the creative power that we carry. The Creatrix is not just a mother of children. She is the birther of ideas, of realities, of revolutions. She is the spark behind new thought, new ways of being, and new paradigms. Across many ancient creation stories, including the Bible, everything begins in nothingness, a dark, watery, feminine void. The Babylonians had the sea serpent goddess Tiamat, while the Sumerians spoke of Namu, the primeval ocean mother where all of life sprang forth from. They are the goddesses that create the universe and everything within the universe into existence so that all of life can begin. This idea of everything coming from nothing actually ties back to our last archetype of cycles, because even when things come to an end, that knowing carries over through to a new beginning of possibilities. Just like these goddesses, we have the ability to create anew anytime, even seemingly from nothing, because our lessons from the past and our hopes from the future come with us into the present, creating an internal spark that allows us to bring forth possibilities from the inner to the outer, because creation is our divine birthright. In current New Age philosophies, there's a divine feminine movement happening, and one of the more known books in that school of thought is the Sophia Code by Kaya Ra. In her book, we learn of Sophia, the divine creatrix mother of all life, and are guided by some of her goddess emissaries like Isis, Hathor, and Kuan Yin to activate our sovereignty and to remember our power to co-create with the divine. As people aligned with spirit, it is up to us to start using the power of creation to create new possibilities and outcomes in our lives and society to create a better place for us all. Let's take another deep breath together. I know this might have been kind of cerebral and a lot of new info to take in, but I share this message to offer hope and inspiration. We're living through a time of great change, and it is becoming clearer every day that the old ways of doing things are not serving us anymore. Many people are ready to do something different, something new. Or maybe it's time to get ancient, to return to the beginning, to reconnect with the primordial wisdom of the Divine Mother and begin a new cycle guided by love, healing, and divine truth. The power to create, to heal, to begin again. That power is within us all. And the mothers among us in body, spirit, and energy show us the way every single day. Thank you for listening today, Unity, and so it is.